It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. Let's start the show.
Hey folks, it is finally that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. Tonight we are all here in memory of Belle, joined by Ace.
Hello.
Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
The show must go on.
And Thalen.
Hey there.
We are ad-libbing this as we keep the show going. It's what Belle would have wanted. And
Yes.
we've actually been playing a bunch of games.
So we are in fact still here to talk about stuff and things, and also maybe games.
That's true.
Yep. 573.
Yeah,
We're
this
just going
is-
to keep that number going.
This is
Yep.
episode 573, which I didn't keep in my notes, and I'm going to remember that for next time. I should actually write this down.
Wait, you keep notes?
Writing things down, what?
Sounds like more effort than should be put into this.
I don't know when we're actually going to publish this, but fittingly, as of this recording, it is August 1st. So
Digimon Day.
I was going to say it is the start of Blogist for anybody participating or who, I guess, hears this later and either decides to participate or is curious about it. I feel like the plug is... But, we've been playing a bunch of games. We've got a bunch of stuff going on, and without further ado, I assume that this is Ace. Tell me about Cozy Grove. Spirit.
Yes. So, the original Cozy Grove has been out for several years, and I played it on the Switch and loved it. And then I got a Steam Deck and have mostly not touched my Switch. But hey, the sequel came out, Cozy Grove Camp Spirit, and it is available immediately on Steam. And I, like a crazy person, purchased the package of the original and Camp Spirit so that I can actually play through, because I never completed the first one. Probably not the best idea. These are, sort of Animal Crossing-like games where you can only do so much in a day. There's an actual, daily clock and a seasonal calendar. Trying to do two of them at the same time is maybe a little bit much, but I still really love it. The original is every bit as good as I remember, and there's an expansion for that now that I had never touched, that adds some additional cute things. And importantly, the sequel, Camp Spirit, is, if you like Cozy Grove, this is just more of it. So you're a spirit scout, and through unfortunate circumstances, you are now trapped alone on an island full of dead bears.
Dead cubicle bears.
Yes. Yes, this is a Sly Fox game, so they are cube-shaped bears. And your goal is to befriend them and help them with their problems, and hopefully eventually figure out how to save yourself. Camp Spirit is cute because when your bus breaks down, you had the whole rest of your troop with you, and so while they are separated from you on this island, they appear in sort of cross-dimensional glimpses and will help you with your gathering. So every day you'll see sort of an apparition of some of your troop mates who will help you gather extra resources, which is really cute.
Okay.
And they send you letters every day as well, talking about their own experiences on the island. And that was one of my favorite pieces from the first game, is sort of getting your daily letter from your scoutmaster about what's happening at home while you are missing. And now you get those plus little glimpses of the other members of your troop, which is really cute. But other... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, that's a delight.
Yeah, and it's all the things that you sort of expect. You're gathering all kinds of resources. You're catching bugs and fish, growing different kinds of flowers and fruit trees and berries and things, and cooking lots of stuff, and also raising ghost animals. So you can have ghost birds and ghost bunnies, and very importantly, your tent gets expanded like a TARDIS to have multiple rooms like a house, and you can have cats.
Aha.
So you have spirit cats to take care of.
Delightful.
Definitely important.
How does
Yes.
one raise a ghost animal?
So they have likes and dislikes. So you find a place on the island, or you place, furniture and things around them that are things that they like. So they might like fruit trees. So you put them in a spot where there are a bunch of fruit trees. And then I don't know, it's not every day. But every couple of days, they'll get hungry. You'll have to cook some sort of food for them. And eventually, as you pet them and feed them, they will mature into more and more glowy, spirity animals. And they produce different resources at different stages of their development. So I tend to amass more of them than is a good idea, because you do have to cook the food for them, and at some point you have more than you have resources to feed them. But it doesn't hurt anything if you just wait a couple of days and let them either feed them a little late, or wait until they'll change what they're asking for after a few days if you don't have the resources to make it.
I assume there's no need to really have played the first one before this one.
No, they're extremely similar, but there's no, at least from what I have seen so far, there's nothing about the story that requires having played the first one. The island is a different island. The bears all seem to be different bears.
Mm-hmm. I think this
Cool.
one was originally on Netflix, wasn't it? So it makes sense that they wouldn't, want to require you to play the previous one, since it wouldn't have been there.
Yeah. But yeah, it's every bit as delightful as the first one. It has some quality of life stuff that is extremely noticeable when you're playing them both at the same time.
That's always kind of a rough thing with sequels if you're also playing the original one.
Yeah, although the original is still extremely playable, but just very small things that make a big difference. Like, one of the mechanics in the game involves throwing things. So there are imps on the island that occasionally want a food or an item, and you have to throw stuff at them. Or for fishing, you sort of have to cast your fishing line, And in the original game, you had sort of an arc that kind of estimated things, but in the new one, you actually have a reticle that shows you where things will land. And that makes a big difference. That's probably the biggest quality of life difference that I appreciate. Like, tiny thing makes a big difference when you're trying to, cast a fishing line without scaring the fish away. But yeah, definitely extremely delightful. It's been the sort of thing that I really need right now. It's just adorable and cozy and a little bit spooky. Definitely both of them are this way, but Camp Spirit has had a few things that it kind of felt like personal attacks. I think I shared one with folks in chat a few days ago that, one of the bears was talking about how they had been labeled as gifted, and, man, maybe
Yeah.
it would have been better if nobody had told him that, so that when he grew up, he would feel less disappointed in himself. And oof.
Yeah.
But yeah, I highly recommend.
I should load that up at some point. I feel like having finished Pocopia, I need something in the like cozy, sleepy game. My kid, and I bet she would enjoy that.
Although you know that there is Pocopia DLC soon.
I know. I'm painfully aware because you cannot turn off advertisements on the Switch on the Switch home screen. So I've been playing this, but mostly thanks to Ash. Gunfire Reborn again.
I also picked this back up recently because of you guys talking about it. And yeah, it's still really fun. Like, I think the last time I played it was about 4 years ago. And I don't know, I just jumped right back in.
I'll be honest, this time through is the first time that I have actually beaten the game. Because while I've played it in bursts previously, I have never been very good at it.
It is possible that there's been some balancing, because I don't remember being this good at it either.
Same.
There's almost certainly been some balancing that occurred. Along with introduction of, let's going to say, some potentially overpowered DLC.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
There are some weapons that come in with the DLC that I've tried out that, wow. Some of those are real good.
But also, with going in with the DLC is characters with different playstyles than the characters in the base game. So there's a turret character now. And Kodra is not here, but this character is a very druid aesthetic and a deer aesthetic, and it is everything that Kodra wanted in a character in this game.
I was going to say that, sounds like it was designed specifically for him.
It's very fun because they also gave me a turret character, well, sort of half turret character that is also coded for the exact kind of thing I like. Because the Artificer has the chicken bot. I love
you
that
can turn into
bot.
a turret.
Who? Yeah.
Is that the red panda?
Yes.
That looks real cute.
She's a delight. I love her. I am purely decorative half the time. The bot is...
That's not true, you have rockets.
I do have rockets. Those rockets are very good. But I don't shoot as many rockets as it looked like... It's called Iron Wing. And I thought it was just like a robot. Because I didn't know how to turn it from wander around and punch things mode to turret and shoot missiles mode. Which is a very important mechanic to understand, but also sometimes irrelevant if you've built for whatever this bot is incredibly powerful. But the very first time I did it, I realized there's a chicken sitting in there. It's like a mecha being piloted by a tiny chicken.
In the character select screen, you actually see this. I think it might even be like a penguin, but it's right next to her.
I never
You just don't realize that it is the bot until you go into turret mode.
Yeah, it just like pops open and sitting right there. I'm like, what? Really? Okay. Super fun though. I need to try other characters.
Yeah, I need to try some of the other characters. I really only played the starting character and the dog with all the bombs because I really like the dog with all the bombs.
It's pretty good. There's not always a ton of AoE, and
I have definitely found a favorite character who is the lion that turns into a bigger lion. Like, big shock, I know. But the other character I really love is the ice character, although I have not yet won a run with her. I'm not entirely sure if she's a squirrel or a fox. Sometimes this art style is a little ambiguous.
I think she's a sheep. She has horns.
You know, sometimes this art style is a little ambiguous. It's the hair that's tripping me up.
Aha. Yeah, I can see it.
But her whole mechanic is that she can just insta-kill enemies with her ability if they get below a certain point. And this is really fun to do, especially to bosses.
I imagine so.
Just having, like, 6 9s go across your screen is just a fun feeling all the time, no matter what game it's in. I do want to learn some of the other characters, in particular, the bird, who, like, I had not unlocked very many original characters in this game before this particular run.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have the bird. And the bird is hilarious and fun, but I'm not sure I'm good with him yet. The entire point is to just kick things in the face, and it is fun. But also I need to learn when not to kick something in the face. I'm holding guns after all.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to attack from a distance.
sometimes your guns can be swords.
Also true.
That is also true.
So I have been, I did not expect to load up High on Life 2. But I needed something dumb that would make me laugh. And hey, that studio has purged its gross CEO.
Hooray!
In like an honestly very on brand kind of way. High on Life 2 is stark improvement over the first one. Like I find it's still really dumb humor. You have to really want just stupid laughs. But it is very happy to deliver your stupid laughs and like actually hit some pretty impressive notes along the way. Like some of the set pieces are really good. It opens up with the same like montage sequence tutorial that 007 First Light does, which I loved. But they use it to bridge the gap between the end of the first game and this one, where it's like, oh, you're a pro bounty hunter, you're fully equipped, and you're just really good at what you do, and that gets really boring. And so over the course of the tutorial, as you flash through, like, this combination of do some fights, mostly flashing to you standing in front of somebody who's your bounty and you stabbing them, and Knifey, your knife, getting increasingly like despondent about how it's like I just stabbed that guy and I just didn't feel anything. But also like, you know, there's a smash cut where your sister goes off to become an eco-terrorist. back to stabbing people, back to fighting some giant monster, and it's showing you like movement ropes, smash cut to you accidentally walking out on your mom, cheating on your dad with one of the guns from the first game. Like, it's just like flash wild. Here's everything that happened. Also, kick you into the new game.
Okay then.
It's wild. The main gun character from the first game was voiced by Justin Roiland, so he's gone. Just totally. And the game is like, oh yeah, you just dropped him somewhere, whatever. Just like the most ignominious, like, yeah, whatever. It's definitely gonna date itself immediately because there's a bunch of just like modern pop culture references.
Games like this always tend to be like that, though.
Yeah, but
you're playing it now when it released, so it's fine.
Exactly, and it doesn't care. It's incredibly self-aware about that it's not going to age well, and between being self-aware about how dumb it is and being self-aware about its own humor, it actually manages to be really funny about it. Because like, like you're like smash cutting through the one thing, and each of these people that you're hunting down says something to you, and it's usually dumb. But one of the guys is like, hey man, like, yeah, sure, I did all those things, but hey, I'm not even the worst guy you know. It's not like I'm on the Epstein files. This is gonna age great in 5 years. like, oh, okay. All right, NPC in a video game. That sure is a thing you just said to me. But the very first boss is it leans really, really heavily into this like late 80s Saturday morning cartoon pastiche that it's doing, with just like way more swearing but still like the same vibe. So the very first boss is this like skateboarding lizard, like very like super cool in a 1992 kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Neon skateboarding lizard. And then you beat him and he's like, oh man, I guess you weren't even the bad guy. And he gives you his skateboard, and that's your new mechanic in the game. And it should be so dumb. But one of the things that the first game didn't do very well was help you move around quickly in a way that felt good. Like, it could be plotting, just moving from place to place. And so this one's like, all right, so you need to go faster. Let's give you a skateboard. Now you can, like, do a bunch of Tony Hawk stuff. Grinding on rails, and half of the levels have half pipes, and that's just what you're doing. Plus double jump, which feels incredible. And it makes all of your, you have all of these like shootouts in things that are shaped like skate parks, like just randomly. At one point you get into a fight in a place where a bunch of construction people are like arguing because the swimming pool segments team and the long straight pipes teams were like collided, and their stuff is just everywhere, and they're arguing about it.
Oh my.
You go to the planet of conventions at one point. I mean, you're basically going around, like, you're hunting down people. It's very much the same plot as the first game, but it's just much, much weirder. You go to weirder places. Their set pieces are more bizarre than before. They add a ton of weird little mini games, especially around the bosses, and so with like no warning, you'll flip over into some completely different like genre. Like one boss becomes a murder mystery. You're just like talking to people and collecting clues, and eventually accusing the person that you think killed them. That's just
Weird.
It's super weird. It just I've beaten it at this point, and it managed to, right as I was starting to get bored with what it was doing, it would do something bizarre and wild that would change that would just like wake me up and be like, oh, wow, all right. I hope this team continues to get to make games, because like this is significantly better than the first one, and it's got some really great set pieces in there, and some genuinely, I did not think I would find it funny, but it's got some genuinely good laughs along with the stupid laughs. It's also like, I think because they've moved away from their previous CEO, there's a lot less of that early 90s like gross out humor.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just aren't bothering with that anymore, and I think that's a stark improvement. Like it's not there, but it's not as front and center. Enemy design is a lot more interesting. The guns themselves are more interesting. Even though it's mostly the same crew, you get a couple of new ones, and the ones that you have get new abilities that sort of help you out. One of my favorites being the gun that shoots little baby guns at things that bite people. They like run around and bite people. The upgrade that he gets in this one is a laser pointer that they'll chase. So they're like little like shine the laser pointer at things, and you could use this to guide them through mazes or to point out enemies or whatever.
All right.
It's super dumb, but it is funny. Their line delivery is very. But anyway, much sillier game that I did not expect myself to play, much less enjoy as much as I did. New patch, right?
New expansion, even.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
This game that has... The last expansion was 8 years ago? 7 years ago?
At least 7.
I knew it'd been a while.
Recently
I have
released.
been playing
It's
it.
a new expansion featuring a gigantic new area that I have not been to yet because I am not that far in the game.
Same.
And a new class that I started using immediately because it contains, among other things, werewolf.
Well, there you go.
It also contains some love for dual wielding, ice magic, and I mean, classes in Grim Dawn they're not just one thing.
They are by definition at least 2 things.
Well, also, yes. You also do pick 2 of them, so there's a lot of stuff going on in any given class tree.
I don't know why, but I didn't play with the new stuff. I'm playing essentially what I think I was doing the last time I played, but that was at least 6 or 7 years ago. And mostly just remembering how good the game is. Like, regardless of all of the new stuff that's been added, I should have been coming back and picking this up once in a while anyway, because it's just extremely well done.
It's not the prettiest game in the world. The original did come out in 2016.
Yeah.
But still looks nice enough. For the new patch, they did adjust the UI so that it has UI scaling properly, a thing that it did not have in 2016, because games didn't need it in 2016.
Yeah.
But they added proper UI scaling, redid some of the UI. You can show your health and mana and orbs now if you really want to, although I actually switched back. I kind of like the bars. And also, it has support for WASD movement. A thing that is surprising to that, like, it's weird that this is just becoming a thing now.
It's just hilarious to me that the entire genre was so dead set against it for so long, and then finally the seal was broken, and now everybody is on the bandwagon.
I'm so hyped about it.
I feel like I remember playing some game that was going to be an online game and ended up being not an online game that was like the first game in this style that had WASD movement. But I don't even remember what the name of that game was at this point. It did not make a very large impression. But even League of Legends supports this now.
Wild.
Incredible. I forget what I played recently. I know I'm getting older because I can play for 10 minutes before my wrist is in agony if I'm clicking that much. And I'm so hyped that I can play many more of these games now.
This one did at least have controller support long before it had this.
It's true. The last time I played it was on the controller.
But yeah, it's been very fun. I like Werewolf. They have been doing some balance things. Early bosses were a little too bursty, apparently. Sorry if you started on hardcore. And I'm going to be honest, I still don't understand devotions. It's going to be a while before I get that one figured out.
They're not too terrible. I'm glad I remembered them from the first time, even though it's been a while.
I don't know that I ever understood any system in that game.
I remember being baffled by them when I first started and spending a bunch of time trying to figure it out, and I guess all of that work paid off because now I am slightly less baffled by them the second time around.
I mean, I remember that my build currently doesn't have any use for these, but I remember all sorts of weird things like weapon pool skills and auto attack replacers and things like that interact strangely. But I did not remember, at least I don't really remember how let me back up. I know how devotions work. Like, you get stars to get points in certain colors to get later constellations. But what I don't remember is any sort of ordering, what even the options are in this tree. There are so many. This is just so huge.
At least there is a search function.
It's true, I can search for pet and get remotely close. I'm currently trying to play a hybrid build that is focused on adding a bunch of flat damage and auras so that both myself and my pet can be good at hitting things. And we're going to see how well that works.
I am, to nobody's shock, starting out with a bunch of minions. They're not all doing the same kinds of damage, so I have some adjustment to do at some point to get everything better aligned, but for the early game, I just have a bunch of minions, and it's great.
My last character that I got recently far in was a Primal Strike character, taking a huge two-hander and just hitting things with it along with lightning bolts. Primal Strike is a fun skill. If you are like getting started with this game, Shaman Primal Strike is a pretty great way to be.
Or the expansion.
Yeah. So I think Hellclock was maybe one of my honorable mentions for Game of the Year. Just absolutely fantastic game. Roguelite ARPG mashup, but also with just this fantastic story that's delving into Brazilian history. It's just extremely cool. And yeah, now there's an expansion. And I've been messing around with it. I have not beaten the expansion yet. I started a fresh game. So finished playing through sort of the main campaign and have gotten past, I think, maybe the first boss in the expansion. So not super far in, but it just continues to be extremely cool. The art is cool. The fact that all of the voice acting is in Brazilian Portuguese. It's looking at another angle of the history that was discussed in the main part of the game.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, incredibly cool, and mechanically, they've added some new stuff that makes it pretty fun. So, and I don't know because I never played deep into the end game of the original game, but there's, the idea is that you're moving through floors quickly because you have a clock that's counting down. And one of the things that happens now is occasionally you'll get a portal that will take you to an alternate version of the next floor where the enemies are harder. There's a lot of them. Once you kill enough of them, there's sort of a mini boss. And so it could potentially take some extra time, but it also gives pretty good rewards and moves you forward. So that just adds another level of interest as you're sort of playing through the levels multiple times in a row in roguelite fashion. There's new spells, new relics, all of that good stuff. So new combinations of things to kind of mess around with. And this is what I'm gonna continue poking at a minimum, at least to get through the story, because I want to see it and I'm interested in it, but also kind of like to try to get to see a little bit more of the end game for this one. Intrigued by it and never quite stuck with it long enough for the original game.
Yeah, I think when I heard you tell us about this previously, I immediately purchased it and then got distracted and never loaded it up. I'm really glad you mentioned it again because now I'm going to absolutely load it up.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. It's a very cool story with an interesting angle on, a piece of world history that I knew nothing about. And it also sort of takes some twists and turns. It's definitely saying some things. It's really cool. And, depending on your preferences, playing it on sort of normal mode, once you get used to the clock mechanic and how things go, it's pretty quick to get through the story, I would say.
I think this is Thalen. Tell us about the incident at Galley House.
So, this is a game. So, some years ago, there was Return of the Obra Dinn, which was a fantastic game about exploring a pirate ship where a whole bunch of people died and figuring out exactly who each person was and how they died and piecing together this whole complicated story. And there have not been all that many games that have followed up on that and done it really well. The big other one that I've played somewhat recently is The Root Trees Are Dead, which is a similar sort of deductive game where you're doing like genealogical research and trying to fill out a family tree. So this game, The Incident at Galley House, is the reimagining of a text-based game called Type Help by the creator of The Root Trees Are Dead, like doing the, working on the reimagining, done as a like full game on Steam. And basically, the game starts and you're at this abandoned house where some years ago 11 dead bodies were just mysteriously discovered. As far as anyone could remember, nobody had lived in that house for years and years before then. Nobody was really sure why they decided to come to the house that day and found the bodies. It's all very strange. You arrive at this house. There's a machine set up in the entryway to the house that you turn on and get started and calibrate, and it allows you to view the past. If you can program into the machine the people and the location and the time code for one of the scenes, then you see that scene, and it's mostly you hear that scene. Like you see the backdrop, and the characters are represented there, but they're like static characters. But you're basically eavesdropping on their conversation, and you watch your first scene, and from that you take clues from that to figure out, okay, so that's going to lead into a scene in this location with these characters. So let's punch that in and see what that gives us. And so you're following these clues, tracking down the scenes, identifying who these people were, what their relationships were to each other, and figuring out what happened. And then there's a whole additional like segment to the game that's additional to what was in the original Type Help. So even if you have played that before, there's more here. And it's really, really well done. It's a really interesting story. Like there's a little bit of a Seventh Guest vibe in that, you're kind of like just, watching these things that happened years ago between people who are all long dead. But instead of, terrible puzzles, it's logical deduction. But I loved it. Like it's probably going to be one of my games of the year. And so if you've been looking for a good, deduction game to stretch your mental muscles, this is a good option. You can also go check out Type Help on the itch.io. It's free. It's like a Twine-based game. You can play that. See what you think of it.
Need to check this one out because I loved Oberdin, and yet haven't really hit on anything else recently that has scratched that sort of itch.
Yeah. This does have fewer pirates. No pirates, but it's still a really good story.
Can't have everything, I guess.
That sounds super cool. Like, I'm always back and forth on these. Sometimes I love them, and sometimes I'm not that into them. But when I like them a lot. So I might have to give this one a go. This is one of those genres where I know for myself, I'm like, I don't always like these, but the ones I like enough to try all the ones I don't like.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, because I've definitely, found games of this stripe that I just didn't really get into.
I did recently pop back into Obra Dinn, and I remember not liking that one because of like just like from the sensory experience wasn't pleasant for me.
Like the weird faux black and white Macintosh aesthetic.
I thought that. Yeah, it was just like something about it didn't sit with me. When I loaded it up this time, and like I'm on a completely new computer from the last time I loaded it up, but I didn't have any of those problems again. It was great. So I don't know if that was just like I played it at the wrong time, or there was some weird like hardware thing going on,
Yeah.
or just the computer.
Yeah, I'm also frankly amazed that, as far as I'm aware, there haven't been any games since then that have tried to make use of that aesthetic. Like it has remained extremely distinctive.
Yeah, I bet that aesthetic is really hard to pull off.
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. to actually pull it off well.
Yeah. So I recently loaded up and actually beat finally Titanfall 2, which is a game that I've had on my on my backlog to play for ages because I've heard so many people talk about how great it is. I finally sat down and played it, and it really is just super great. I want more games like this because it takes the first person shooter kind of structure and does some really interesting stuff with it because you can be in your mech and out of your mech, and there's really good reasons to do both, and that's really cool. Because you're so fast and agile and mobile when you're out of your mech, but you're so powerful in the mech. And then the whole like you're fighting colonial powers is just very satisfying. I don't really have a ton to say about it other than it felt really good to cross that one off of my backlog because I I can call to mind the tutorial level like perfectly because I've seen it probably 15 times as I decide this is the time I'm going to play through Titanfall 2 and then never actually quite get that far. I regret that I didn't. I probably would have gotten really, really heavily into the multiplayer if I had. Also, I really like mecha games. I like mech games where you can get. I struggle to think of a mech game where you can get in and out of your mech that I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
It probably exists, but I can't think of one. Anyway, not a lot to say about Titanfall 2. It's great.
Oh yeah, this one's me.
1.0.
Yay!
It's actually out now, right?
Oh,
Yes.
it's
Yep.
really out. Okay, that's why everybody's been talking about it. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know about anybody else, but I had kind of been avoiding it while it was still early access.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it obviously had a ton of hype and a ton of people were playing it and enjoying it, but I just kind of forced myself to wait. And yeah, it's really enjoyable. It's open world gathering, crafting, building kind of game, but also you have not Pokemon.
Legally distinct from Pokemon.
Yes, legally distinct. And
Side
you
note,
can.
I'm extremely happy Nintendo lost their patent lawsuit.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a dumb patent.
So yeah, you can capture these creatures and force them to labor it on your farm. I think the thing that's most troubling to me is that also you can kill them and eat them.
Oh
Right.
yeah, that was a surprise for me. I loaded it up recently. I've only played for like an hour, but yeah, like oh okay, it's. I understand why Nintendo got really mad about this game, but also I feel like they had their opportunity to just make this game and they didn't, and they should have.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, I'm not super far at all, but I think I need to kind of clear some space in my gaming lineup so that I can really dedicate some time to it and like get into building a base and all that good stuff. but like it's definitely feeling really good for that style of a game. Love going around and discovering new creatures, pals, and again forcing them to labor on my farm.
I have to ask, does your movement speed get better when I loaded it up?
I'm pretty sure eventually you can like ride pals around. So yeah, I think so. But initially you're a little more limited.
Yeah, apparently you can use them as mounts.
Yeah.
Although they were still forced to remove the gliding one.
Also, does this game have a crossover with Terraria?
I didn't think so.
Actually, yes, because when I was playing Terraria for a while, you can get some of the pals in Terraria,
Wild.
including like the little ones that you can ride, the chillets.
Amazing.
Yeah, and there was a turtle that would dig. So, like, he was very helpful in Terraria, the digging turtle.
Apparently, you can also capture like the giant eyeball boss and such
Oh,
as pals.
wow.
All right.
That's hilarious.
And then give it pets, because why not?
I also
Sorry, go ahead.
I appreciate that, you know, some of the pals you just capture and then they fight for you, and some of them you capture and you can modify with equipment. So the pal that is a fire thing, you basically can just turn it into a flamethrower that you carry. There's lots of silly stuff like that that I'm appreciating. And again, still very early.
I'm still torn like by this game's initial trailer. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was just so wild.
Yes. I feel like because it's not actually Pokemon, they can do a bunch of stuff that Pokemon could never do, and is so much better for it.
How sweatshops still not necessarily need to be a thing.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, that very first trailer went very hard into here's all the awful stuff you can do to these creatures. The more recent trailers seem more rounded on these things. I mean, yet you can still put like missile pods on the shoulders of your giant lizard pal and have it, fire off all the rocket trails. But also you can build a nice little, farm with, just pals having fun.
I do remember the very first pal I caught was like the level 15 bush turtle deer thing in the opening area, which is definitely not what it wanted me to catch, but it was like, catch something. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to catch this huge thing. And that was like a solid 20 minutes of me getting wrecked until I finally was able to. Boy, that thing has served me really well. It does seem really cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to spend a bunch more time with it. And if other folks are playing, I would love to like try to group up and do stuff because that looks pretty cool.
Is it just like player instanced? Like, how does the multiplayer work? Do you have like a world or?
I don't know in this game. I get the impression it may be like other like similar style games where you are joining on one person's world, but I haven't tried it, so I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I do believe you have to join. You have to join someone's world that is hosting multiplayer. Palworld dedicated server is also a thing that you can just run. You can make a Palworld server and so on and so forth.
So a game that I have been getting into purely because of work.
No, I pretty sure it's actually pronounced Meccha.
Yeah,
But
But
it's
nobody in
Mecca.
America pronounces it properly.
The
Fair
only reason I
enough.
know this is because I said it on Checkpoint.
I could not have made. I did not make sense of that that game title. It is really funny though. It's like almost the vein of Among Us, but the process is sillier.
Also, I'm very sorry. You said you're playing it with work. Some of those people are probably artists.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a problem. On the one hand, it's the battle between, at least for our artists, it's the battle between not having the patience to find a really good hiding spot, but having the artistic skill to make anything a good hiding spot. But the premise of this game is it's a hide and seek game. You have finders and you've got people who are hiders. And if you're a hider, you're a stark white little tiny person shape, and you have to hide somewhere in a space, and then you paint yourself using like MS Paint tools to try to blend into your surroundings. And then other players try to find you. And it's genuinely hilarious. Some of the effective hiding, it gets really funny because the places that you can hide and like you can turn anything into a hiding space if you're clever enough about it. And sometimes even really good hiding spaces aren't if you like miss a spot and somebody can see you're like. But yeah, you like go to hide, you got a little bit of time to paint yourself, and then you see if people can find you. And it's genuinely very funny. Yes. Occasionally, mostly the artists have been doing this, but they've been like trying to flex by hiding just blatantly in plain sight. And it is it is humiliating to have walked by a person like 7 times right in the middle of a room and you just don't see them. But it's also very funny when somebody's found a really good hiding spot, but they're not actually able to paint themselves well enough to fully lean into that hiding spot. It's very silly. It's very good. It's just a fun little party game. I want to try to get some other people to give it a silly run at some point because
it has definitely picked up a bit in furry circles where, yeah, there might be a few artists.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I imagine so.
I think it looks pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's very funny. There's a bunch of I have the smack talk that I have heard has been incredible. The artists mocking systems designers and engineers. You've been dominating us with your math skills all this time. Now it's our turn. I'm a 3D texture artist. You stand no chance. There's one other topic, but I want to push it off until next week because there's a bunch of stuff that just came out today that is all of the topics for as it were.
Or do we want to wait until we have the full remainder of the crew together?
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
That's true.
So what shall do?
Somebody's at a convention.
So probably next episode we'll get a report about that convention, which is always exciting.
It's true. I hear it's exciting. It's good. Some amount of excitement is totally. Unless anybody has anything they want to. Yeah, the 4-Drop Fiesta is coming out.
very much in progress now. It started in June.
Oh, did it? Right.
Yeah.
Yes, 4-Drop Fiesta. I hear the Odyssey is really good. But anyway, I am frantically trying to remember how Belle would sign the show off. Me remembering how that goes, we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See you.